Hello everyone, and welcome back to Programming from the Ground Up. Today what we're going to do is we're going to actually start doing some programming, which is really cool. So all of these lessons are going to take place on Windows because I have Windows, and I think most people will have Windows as well. And we're also going to use Microsoft's Visual Studio Visual C++ environment. So if you look at the description at the bottom, I put a link to where you can download it. All you need to do is click download Visual Studio here. I'm just going to walk you through the process of installing it, just so we're all on the same page and we all have the same thing. Afterwards, it's going to download a little thing here. You can launch it. You launch the setup. And there's one important thing to do. I already actually installed this, so whatever. The point is that when you go in, you should select Custom Install, and under Programming Languages, you should make sure Visual C++ is checked, because that's what we're going to be using. Now, I know I said we were going to be using C, but what C++ is basically a language built on top of C, but C is also a subset of C++. So any sort of program that we write in C, well, actually, virtually any program you write in C can be compiled with the C++ compiler, and it'll work fine. There just isn't a good C development environment within Windows, so we're going to use the C++ one instead. Once you've installed that, I want you guys to open Visual Studio. That's what it'll look like, and then we're going to go to File, New, and click Project. And instead of doing Visual C#, we're going to pick Visual C++, like this, and then click Win32 Console Application, and then just pick a name. So I was going to say Learning C, for example. That's what our project is going to be called. Click OK. I don't think you need to do anything special here. Yep. Nope. There we go. Just click Finish. And we are going to be in our development environment shortly. Okay, here we go. Just gonna zoom in so that you guys can see that. Okay, so this is our editing window. Over here is where we're gonna write all of the code that we're going to use within our program. And I'm going to erase this return 0 right now because I haven't actually talked about what return means yet. So so far, this is pretty much what I've explained in the previous lecture. For starting a program, as I said, every program is supposed to start with int main. This pound include stdafx.h. Don't worry about that right now. I'm going to explain what that means in a later lecture. It's a little confusing right now, but it's always a little bit confusing when you start a new programming language and you're not sure of what anything is. But without further ado, let's write the program to calculate the area of the rectangle that we wrote before in the previous lecture. I'm just going to type that out real quick. And now, like the previous lecture, what we're actually going to do is we're going to execute our program for the first time. We're actually going to run it through the computer. The way that we're going to do that is we're actually going to use a utility within Visual Studio, this great development environment, called the debugger. The debugger is a program that allows you to step by step go through every line of your program and see how it affects your memory contents at every line. So what we're going to do is you're going to click, so see this gray bar here, you're going to click on it, and that's going to put this red mark here, and that's called a breakpoint. So this tells the debugger that stop executing here and wait for me to step through it afterwards. And then we're going to press play, and what play does is it compiles the program, so it converts it to the individual CPU instructions, and then executes them. And whenever there's a breakpoint, it'll stop and it'll wait for us to input something so that it can continue. So without further ado, let's play. It's going to say I'm just going to say this. Would you like to build it? Yes. Build it. And here we are. You'll see there's this window over here that just that says what all the variables are equal to. So right now the only variable that exists is width. And you'll notice its value, hopefully you can see that, is like -8 billion something. It doesn't seem to make any sense as to what it is, and that's because it shouldn't make sense. You had this line here has not yet executed. So width just has some random ones and zeros value that just happened to be in that location in memory before. And as soon as this line executes, and the way we make a line execute is by doing either pressing F11 or pressing the down arrow that's over here. It says step into. So you're going to step into, and voila. See? So now width over here, and you can also mouse over it, width is equal to 30. And length is now in the same position. Length hasn't been assigned a value yet. Because this line hasn't executed, so we're going to step into that as well. Voila. And now length is equal to 40, as we said in this line of code here. And the one more thing that we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, calculate the area, and look at that. The value within area is 1200. And we've just written and executed our first program. For an exercise, this lecture is going to be a lot shorter than the last one. For an exercise, please try and calculate, instead of the area of a rectangle, you can calculate the area of a triangle. In order to stop debugging, you press the stop button here, or Shift F5. So I would like you to, instead of calculating the area of a rectangle, type in the formula for calculating the area of a triangle. And you can rename the variables here. So instead of width and length, call this base and height. Alright, and then I want you to modify. If you notice here right now, it doesn't know what length and width are because it has no idea, because I never mentioned what length and width are, and I haven't declared them. So I want you to change this line over here to the area of a triangle, and then try running it and seeing if that will work. Alright. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.